Yeah, what I want to talk to you guys about is a form of capitalism. Well, is a belief system that I've had, an idea that has come to my head. I guess you can even maybe refer to it as a form of capitalism. Maybe you could call it nirvana capitalism. As nirvana, as nirvana, anybody who's not familiar with the Indian term, it's a term that means pure happiness, okay? Peak happiness, to be honest with you, okay? And I think that's what that's what the world that's what we need to make sure to make sure that people have a greater motivation for success. Because look at things this way, okay? Look at things this way. This way, yeah, getting in a more comfortable position. You know, um, you have to realize something, okay? Whenever people feel happy, as we all know, for something, they're more motivated to want to pursue it more, And if we lived in a world where people felt happier with success, because all that sort of talk that success doesn't bring you happiness, that's bullcrap. You could probably feel more happiness, but of course the world we live in is filled with so many issues. People don't tend to feel it. But even with the right conditions, people probably would feel happy, but at the same time they wouldn't feel the intense happiness they're looking for. And I think that's possibly the best idea to do. Maybe we could do a chemical thing, injecting chemicals in people's brains or something, any way possible to motivate people. And of course, depending on the situation, how much? Because if you just felt the ultimate happiness all the time, everything, it just doesn't make any sense. It would just be a bad idea. Because look at things this way, okay? If you have a greater feeling of happiness, okay, which is a motivator, which is why humanity built all of the things it has, because it motivates people. If we could actually feel the pure bliss, everything, from maybe if we got the amount of fame we wanted, if we got the amount of money we wanted, the house, the cars, whatever, that would definitely be a motivator. Instead of just the lustful, energetic feeling of how good you imagine it would be, when you actually get it, you would actually feel it. Because if we were to do that, for one, we would have a more advanced society, okay? Because obviously, if people enjoy the success that they had, they would have a greater motivation to work. And if they had a greater motivation to work, it would be a situation where, let's just say, I did a very good job at maybe writing an essay or something, I would feel that happiness and I would want more of that feeling. I want it to go on and on and on. So it definitely would be a great motivator. It's obvious common sense. It would be obvious common sense. It would help to motivate people, motivate people. And as a result of it motivating people, the chances of a corrupt government taking advantage of its people would be lesser, because obviously in a society like this, they would, once they cling on to power and they're in a position of power, and of course not everybody can be the CEO or the head of like a group of people, but if everybody were to cling on a position of power, they would, because if people at a young age got a taste of education and they enjoyed it, chances are more likely that in the future they would be more likely to continue on with it. To continue on with it. To continue on with it, and pursue it more and more and more. And there are ways to do it without putting a huge amount of stress on people, which, there are ways out there. Because if people feel that happiness, they're more likely to feel better. I mean, they're more likely to want more and more of it. So they'd be in a position, if they are dealing with a corrupt government, when they cling on to it, the whole more people would cling on to it. So it'd be harder for them to lose that ability. They would defend themselves to the end. They would defend. They would be more likely to deal with the government because they're already up in that position, because they have a motivation for power, for success, and of course their motivation as well to help their family along with it, to not deal with a corrupt government that will to not let the government take advantage of them, because simply put it, they would be more educated. Not to mention to deal with possible invaders from other nations, they would have a lesser chance of being invaded by other nations, because with all of that knowledge put into it, they would have a more technologically advanced society. It would be, people would work harder, and it would be more advanced technologically compared to the competition. Competition, So to be honest with you, I think personally, honestly, man, the black community as a whole, and I'm not trying to get into any issue of other communities. I can further clarify any questions that are in this video later, but like I said before, the black community as a whole needs to understand that we have to appreciate success, okay? Because just in general, humanity as a whole doesn't really feel the happiness they're expecting to feel. That's one of the most common complaints people have, is I felt happy, but I didn't feel as happy as I expected to feel. If people felt as happy as they expected to feel, chances are more likely that they wouldn't be taken advantage of, that they wouldn't be taken advantage of. Because you could be one of those types of groups of people that say, oh yeah, we don't care for knowledge. And I'm not saying that about saying that black people prefer to be on the bottom, but look at it this way. Look at the civilizations and look at how bad we've had it for like the past couple 100 years. Okay? If we had a greater motivation, if and look at how bad we've had it. Okay, because you could think like those hunter-gatherer societies that say, oh yeah, who cares about knowledge? We don't we don't care, like who cares about the big buildings and all that stuff? Because that's how a lot of them actually talk, such as the different tribes in Amazon. And look at what happened to them. Let's just say they're not doing too well. Because honestly, this world is a cruel place, and if you do not appreciate knowledge, if you're one of those groups of people that says, who cares, you're gonna be easy prey, because you might not care, but there's gonna be other groups of people that care, that want what you have. They might want your resources. your resources. They might just want to live in a land you have. They might have nowhere else to live. And this is a possible way for them to deal with the mistakes that they've made. Okay? To deal with the mistakes that they've made. Because honestly, man, the conditions in the black community really are deplorable. You know, these conditions really are deplorable, and we're really gonna have to do something. You know, this has been going on too long, and I'm just sick of it, man. And that's it, man. Really.